You're not buying hearing aids today. That's what I told Steve right after I looked in his ear and saw a swollen, red, bulging eardrum. He was ready to spend thousands of dollars, and his wife was more than ready to buy on the spot. But I knew if I said yes, I could have made things worse. Much worse. I'm Dr. Layne Garrett, founder of Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus here in Utah. I've been an audiologist for nearly 25 years, and sometimes the most important thing I do is to tell people no. Today, I want to share 3 real stories of people who've walked into my office ready to buy hearing aids and why I told each of them not to. If you or someone you love is considering hearing technology, this might be the most honest and helpful thing you hear all week. All right, first up is the patient I was talking about a minute ago. He was in his 60s, a retired teacher, and his wife dragged him into the clinic. She did most of the talking, explaining how he had grown withdrawn. The TV was always blasting, and he missed the punchline of every joke. And family dinners had become a tense affair. He just sat there, nodding along with a look that was half resignation, half of, can we please just get this over with? It sounded like a classic case of age-related hearing loss. His wife, she wanted the best hearing aids on the market, right then, right there. So I started the evaluation. But a key job of my job, and it should be for any hearing professional, is otoscopy, where I physically look into the ear canal. And that's where the story took a sharp turn. When I did that, I saw the eardrum was red and swollen. His eardrum was dull and bulging a little bit. These aren't signs of a simple hearing loss. They're the telltale signs of an active middle ear infection. An infection can cause temporary hearing loss by trapping fluid and blocking sound from passing through. I put my otoscope down and looked at both of them and told them we have a medical issue to deal with first. I told him putting a hearing aid in that ear right now would be like putting a cork in a bottle. You trap the infection, block ventilation, and potentially make things worse. His wife was stunned. For the first time, he actually looked engaged during the appointment. He admitted that his ear had felt full and aching for a few weeks, but he just chalked it up to getting older. My advice was firm. You're absolutely not getting hearing aids today. Your first and only step is to see an ear, nose, and throat physician. They listened. Mark went and saw the ENT and got some antibiotics for that ear infection. A few weeks later, he came back to get tested. And surprise, surprise, the infection was gone. He did still have a mild underlying hearing loss, but it was nowhere near what we would have found if we would have tested him with that ear infection in place. The lesson? Hearing loss isn't always a hearing issue. A good provider will always rule out medical problems before talking about hearing aids. My second story is about a woman I'm going to call her Susan. She was a sharp, confident executive in her early 50s. She walked in with a folder full of her own online research. Her issue? Classic speech and noise difficulty. Quiet rooms were fine, loud restaurants were a nightmare. She pointed to an ad for a very basic entry-level hearing aid. I want something discreet that will let me hear my clients perfectly in a steakhouse, and I want to stick to this budget. What Susan wanted was the holy grail of hearing technology, but the device she was eyeing, that wasn't built for the job. When I tested her, her test showed borderline normal hearing with some mild deficits in noise. Afterward, I sat her down and said, Susan, let's manage some expectations. Hearing aids are not like glasses. They don't restore normal hearing. They assist it. I explained that the entry-level device she was looking at would amplify everything, including background noise that she was trying to avoid. It didn't have directional microphones, no noise suppression. She'd be throwing money at a problem that needed a smarter solution. So I told her not to buy hearing aids yet. Instead, we talked about communication strategies, smarter seating choices, and we gave her some hearing rehabilitation using Lace AI. 3 months later, she came back to the office smiling. She'd been practicing everything we talked about and said, I'm not totally lost in noise anymore. I know hearing aids are still in my future, but today isn't the day. Lesson here? The goal is solving the right problem. Sometimes that means no hearing technology at all. Before we get to the third story, if you're finding this kind of real-world hearing advice helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. It really helps people find honest, trustworthy hearing care without the sales pressure. Now let's talk about George. He was in his 80s and his daughter brought him in completely frustrated. George lived alone and he was missing phone calls, appointments, and conversations. His daughter was ready to pay for anything. George was not. He sat slumped, arms crossed. When I asked him why he was there today, he said, she made me come. His hearing test showed a severe hearing loss, but he didn't want to hear better. And that right there is the problem. Motivation is everything. I told them both, this won't work unless George wants it to. I gave his daughter some tips for better communication and suggested they focus not on the problem, hearing, but on the impact it was having, missing the conversations with his grandkids. 8 months later, we got a phone call. It was George. He said, I think I'm ready to come in and talk. He came in alone this time, and he asked smart questions. And when we did fit him with hearing aids, he's become one of my most successful patients. This lesson: the best hearing aid in the world won't help someone who doesn't want help. So there you have it, a medical issue, a mismatch in expectations, and someone who simply wasn't ready yet. If there's one thing I hope you take from this, is that good hearing care starts with understanding, not a sales pitch. If you'd like to keep learning about hearing loss and tinnitus, you can visit our Learning Center online. There you'll find free guides, patient stories, and honest explanations to help you in your hearing journey. And if you're here in Utah and ready for a personalized, no-pressure evaluation, you can visit online anytime at utahhearingaids.com. I'll leave links in the show notes below. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. Take care of your hearing. It's how you stay connected to the people you love.